So the other thing is, why we study all of that? Because the sequence here, let's say we have A, G, C. So we have sequence A, G, C. Let's say this. That is, could be for a gene. That is called gene or code. So the gene could be made of many nucleotides, 10, 20, 25, 50 nucleotides in certain order. So this sequence is very important. So putting A, G, C is different from A, C, G code. So this one is a gene, this one for another gene. I hope you understand. So the order is very important. The sequence is very important, okay? So if we have A, G, C, T, A, so that is for a certain gene. If we have A, G, C, A, so it is another gene. So the gene is a sequence of these nucleotides, depending on these nucleotides, okay? So the change in any of these sequences or order, that will make another gene. I hope you understand, I got this idea. So any change in this sequence or this order will make a change in the gene. Okay? Okay. Let's go to the genetic disorder. Genetic disorders come because, or we have genetic disorders because a change in this sequence or the gene. So what happens? It is kind of mistake or error during the formation of the DNA, or this error could be because of mutation, this error because of anything that is inherited from the parent to the baby. So if the parent or the father has a disease, for example, genetic disease, this disease would be inherited or could be inherited to the offspring, to the son or the daughter. It depends on what? Depends on the disease, depends on what gene do we have. Is that gene or the recessive or the disease is recessive or dominant? So as we studied before, dominant means most common, recessive means rarely or rare disease. So, and common trait and recessive trait. Recessive, it means not appearing or not represented too much in presence of the dominant allele, and dominant means that should be present or expressed in the phenotype or in the genotype. So again, some people, they have problems in genes or disorders. This disorder comes from mutation, comes from the father, maybe from the father or the mother, because of the disease, genetic disease, that is inherited from the parents. Okay? Okay. So any problem in that sequences or the arrangement of the nucleotides of the DNA of the person may cause a disease. Maybe the person has the defective gene or the defect in the gene, but not showing the disease or the symptoms. It depends on the disease. We will explain examples regarding to this. Okay, I hope you got the idea before we start the lesson, or we start details, I mean. So any change in the gene sequence or in the nucleotides that will appear or may cause disease or like mutation, or will appear in the phenotype. Phenotype means on the person. So if we have defect gene in the insulin, for example, gene for insulin is not working. Mistake, error, damage, mutation, anything. So the person or this person will not be able to produce insulin. Defect in a gene. Okay. So let's go to the next. Here we have examples for gene disorders or genetic disorders. Okay, we have something called sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia. What is sickle cell anemia? Sickle cell anemia is a disease caused by recessive gene. Recessive means not common gene. Okay? Okay. So what happens in that? Sickle cell anemia means when the person has sickle shaped red blood cells. So let's say that is normal person or normal human, and that is carrier has the defective gene but not infected completely, and it is infected with what? With sickle cell anemia. What is that? You will know now. So sickle cell anemia, the person is normal red blood cells shape, that is red blood cells, the shape of red blood cells is normal, so that is normal person has normal red blood cells. But if the person is infected with sickle cell anemia, he has anemia, he has problem in the red blood cells. So red blood cells would be like this sickle shape or crescent. So this person has no normal red blood cells. I hope you understand. So again, normal red blood cells like here. If the person is infected, has sickle cell disease, so red blood cells of this person would be like this. So what is the problem of having this shape of red blood cells? Now we have a problem because red blood cells transporting oxygen. So if these cells are distorted like this or misfold or having this shape, so they will not carry oxygen, enough oxygen. Okay, so there is a problem, anemia. Carrier, the person will have both type of cells, normal and sickle shape. But this person is okay, has no big problem or deal because he has some or most of red blood cells are normal, so they can make or they can carry oxygen normally. So that is sickle cell anemia. We will take details later next time, but just for now, the sickle cell anemia, that means the person has problem in the red blood cells, the hemoglobin of red blood cells, making the normal red blood cells to appear like this, sickle shape, crescent shape. So that is a very big problem. The normal one is like this, normal cells, no problem. They can carry efficient or a sufficient amount of oxygen. It is, there is no problem in that. The carrier one, the person has one allele or one gene from the father or the mother, not both of them, one of them, for sickle cell anemia. So this person has a problem, but not complete. This person has some normal red blood cells with some defected or some sickle shaped cells. But the infected one has a big problem, has anemia, cannot carry oxygen on his cells.